Speaking during Good evening and welcome to LCM TV main news at 18 hours. Here are the top stories making headlines. Zambia receives new invoice to strengthen international relations. Government unveils partnership with Huawei Technologies. IBA releases election coverage guidelines ahead of 2026 polls. Zambia expected to record 4.9 million metric tons of maize harvest. NRDC power project enters final stage. And in international news, Ghana evacuates citizens from South Africa. And in sports, Chakatazia eyes World Cup qualification. We now take a short break. Stay tuned for the news in details. Don't go away.
Lishima Classic Media, we can brand your brand. From backdrops to roll-up banners, vinyl and PVC banners, gazebo tents, t-shirt printing, flag banners, business cards. Get branded with Lishima Classic Media today, because here at Lishima Classic Media, we're doing it the right way.
Join LCM TV channel, live every Tuesday with court news updates. On Thursday, we go live with environmental updates. Catch us every Saturday as we go live in your community. News on the go with LCM channel. Doing it the right way.
With the news in details, I'm Stella Mbewe. President Hakainde Hichilema has received letters of credence from newly appointed high commissioners and ambassadors representing Tanzania, Indonesia, Greece, Norway, Gabon, and Mexico. The presentation ceremony took place at Zambia as Zambia continues to strengthen diplomatic and economic relations with friendly nations across the world. President Hichilema said Zambia's foreign policy remains anchored on two key pillars: peace, security, and stability, as well as economic diplomacy. The head of state noted that peace is essential for national development, adding that economic opportunities are equally important in sustaining peace and improving people's livelihoods. Mr. Hichilema said Zambia looks forward to deepening cooperation with the 6 countries in areas such as trade, investment, energy, agriculture, tourism, and regional integration for shared prosperity. More in the following report.
Let me acknowledge our 6 excellencies that have just presented their credentials this morning, and also the accompanying officials, those accompanying the 6 colleagues that we're ceremonizing today. May I recognize the media, who many times we take for granted, but do great work for us, for the global public, so that the public knows what is happening around in our country and the world over. May I start by welcoming the 6 excellencies to Zambia. Congratulate you for being appointed by the leaders, fellow leaders in your respective countries. Tanzania, next door to us, Indonesia, of course, Greece, historic Greece, lots of history and connection to Africa, and of course, Gabon, a sister from Gabon, and Norway. Thank you very much. And lastly but not least, Mexico, so they say. Thank you very much. Once more, congratulations for your appointment, and we're delighted to receive you in our beautiful country, Zambia. And I want to thank your respective leaders and the peoples of the 6 countries for choosing you amongst millions of citizens in your countries to come and represent your people, our people there, to your people here in Zambia, our people here in Zambia. And that really is a continuation of the tradition of partnerships, people-to-people partnership, business to business, government to government, and also a combination of this, which is very important in today's world, especially the world that appears polarized. Yet, from where I stand, the world should be more consolidated today, given our lessons of the First World War, the Second World War, and obviously the heritage of migration movement of people, sometimes forced movements, not by consensus, but also really what we've learned by working together through the UN system. We must be in a position to understand each other, the needs of each other, and the common interests of our peoples across the world, without exception. With a digital world, obviously, we should be closer together now than ever before. And knowing that we have a lot of vested interest in each other, common interest in each other, and benefits, shared benefits for all our populations. And I think it's important that I say this, that we believe that as a country, Our foreign policy is firmly anchored on two pillars. One is peace, security, stability. Peace, security, stability. And secondly,
Vice President Mutale Nalumango has officially opened the 2026 Zambia Mobile Congress, with government unveiling a strategic partnership with Huawei Technologies aimed at accelerating artificial intelligence AI adoption and digital transformation in the country. Speaking during the opening ceremony, Mrs. Nalumango said Zambia is positioning itself to become a leader in Africa's digital economy through investment in AI, cloud computing, and advanced connectivity infrastructure. She noted that embracing technology will help drive economic growth, innovation, and improved service delivery. The Vice President also called on stakeholders in the telecommunications and technology sectors to work together in promoting digital advancement. The Congress has attracted government officials, industry experts, and technology companies to discuss the future of mobile technology and digital connectivity in Zambia. More in the following report.
Vice President Mutale Nalumango has launched the 2026 Zambia Mobile Congress in Lusaka, unveiling a major partnership between government and Huawei Technologies aimed at accelerating artificial intelligence adoption and digital transformation. Speaking during the official opening, Mrs. Nalumango said Zambia was positioning itself to become a leader in Africa's digital economy through investments in AI, cloud computing, and 5G technology.
For Zambia, this moment is not a threat. It is an invitation to build a smarter nation, a more connected nation, a more productive, more equitable, and more prosperous nation. To put it differently, the question before Zambia is not whether digital transformation will come. It will. The question is whether we will lead it or follow it. Artificial intelligence, fifth generation connectivity. I was saying, what is fifth generation connectivity? I like learning. Then I am calling it myself mount connectivity. It's not just one. We want to participate. We want to use. You talked of cyber development. You are talking of cloud, for example. You are talking of all sorts of connectivity. Zambia needs everything. We are also talking of cloud computing and digital power as not distant theoretical constructs. They are active instruments of national transformation.
Smart Zambia Institute National Coordinator, Percy Chinyama, says government reforms have already saved billions of kwacha and expanded digital public services.
This partnership of consequence, this strategic cooperation with our friends from China, and like was said earlier on, we did the railways in that age. Excellent. Now in this age, it's about AI. It's about technology. It's about infrastructure. It's about data management, data science.
I wish to call on everyone in this room to commit to responsible innovation. Artificial intelligence is a powerful tool, but power requires governance.
While Huawei Regional Vice President said stronger connectivity and ICT skills development will be critical to Zambia's future growth.
China is ready to work with Zambia, guided by the principle of extensive consultation, joint contribution, and shared benefits.
Artificial intelligence will play an important role in Zambia's next phase of development.
The Congress also saw Smart Zambia and Huawei sign a memorandum of understanding to deploy AI-powered systems and cloud infrastructure across government institutions, including plans for a national AI data center and the training of 5,000 ICT professionals by 2028. Frederick Mwansa, Zanis, Lusaka.
The Independent Broadcasting Authority, IBA, has released election coverage guidelines to broadcasters ahead of the August 2026 general elections. IBA Director General Webster Malido said the guidelines are meant to promote fair, balanced, and responsible election coverage. Mr. Malido urged media houses to avoid misinformation, hate speech, and biased reporting during the campaign period. He added that the authority will monitor broadcasters to ensure compliance with the guidelines throughout the elections. More in the following report, credit of Zanis.
The election coverage guidelines cover the following key areas. Number one, fair and balanced election reporting to ensure equitable and impartial coverage of all political parties and candidates. Number two, equitable allocation of airtime, requiring broadcast stations to divide available advertising time on an equitable basis to ensure fair access for political parties and candidates during campaigns. The conduct of political interviews and debates to promote fairness, professionalism, and impartiality by broadcasters.
The report was credit of Zanis. Secretary to the Cabinet, Patrick Kangwa, has announced that Zambia is expecting a record of maize harvest of 4.9 million metric tons during the 2025-2026 farming season. Mr. Kangwa says the projected harvest will be the largest bumper yield ever recorded in the country's history, signaling strong growth in the agriculture sector. He attributed the anticipated increase in maize production to favorable rainfall patterns, improved farming methods, and government support to farmers across the country. Mr. Kangwa added that the expected harvest will strengthen national food security and create opportunities for increased exports to neighboring countries. He further assured the nation that government remains committed to supporting farmers and ensuring continued growth in agriculture production. More in the following report, credit of Zanis.
Zambia has today projected a historic milestone of a 4.9 million metric tons bumper harvest of maize for the 2025-2026 farming season, rising from 3.8 million metric tons last season. The government is happy with this development.
I am happy to announce that for the 2025-2026 agriculture season, the Crop Forecasting Survey projects a total national maize output of 5.119916, 5,119,916 metric tons. From this projection, a total of 4,937,605 metric tons is an allocation for maize grain, while the remaining 182,311 metric tons is an allocation for maize seed. This output represents a 29.3% increase in maize production compared to the previous agriculture season. Specifically, maize grain increased by 27.8%, rising from 3,119,000 865,019 metric tons in the 2024-25 agriculture season to 4,937,605 metric tons this farming season.
As you may be aware, the government of the Republic of Zambia has set a clear vision of achieving annual production targets of 10 million metric tons of maize, 3 million metric tons of soybeans, and 1 million metric tons of wheat by the year 2031.
Zambia Statistics Agency Statistician General Sheila Mudenda was also at the event.
The crop forecasting survey provides forecasted crop production estimates from the agricultural season based on field data collected. Popularly known as the CFS, in short, has used a sound methodology and internationally accepted fundamental principles for the production of official statistics. It was designed to provide crop estimates at national and provincial levels. These statistics are critical for assessing national food availability, supporting food security interventions, and strengthening estimates of agriculture's contribution to the economy.
Meanwhile, stakeholders in the sector shared views on this latest development.
Some of the indicators that we need to watch out for in the 2026-2027 marketing year are as follows. We need to watch out for the Middle East conflict and the rising fuel prices because these pose an upside risk to food prices. We also need to watch out for the input prices. The rising fertilizer and fuel prices may increase production costs, hence affecting the coming production or agriculture season. Then we also need to watch out for food inflation, which is expected to ease due to the lower import demand. It is also worth noting that there's a possibility of transitioning into an El Nino season this coming season. And according to the International Research Institute for Climate and Society, IRIS, they indicated that there's a high likelihood of an El Nino season with over 70% probability of its occurrence.
It is quite exciting, but when we look at the regional picture as well, this is only speaking to one thing, because the demand, the supply is definitely going to surpass the demand. And it is quite interesting to see how the market is going to unfold, because with the announcement of this figure plus the carryover, obviously consumers are expecting to see a reaction. And it is my prayer that as the market begins to progress, we should be able to see a translation of the bumper harvest figure that has been released today, that consumers definitely have to start paying affordable prices for the mealie meal.
Shilika Chabalengula for Zanis News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, the Zambia Meteorological Department says there is a high likelihood that the El Nino weather phenomenon expected between May and August this year could persist into the early months of 2027. Senior meteorologist Victor Bupe says there is currently an 80% chance of El Nino conditions developing during the projected period. Mr. Bupe has advised Zambians, particularly farmers and communities vulnerable to extreme weather conditions, to continue following weather updates issued by the Zambia Meteorological Department. He says more detailed information will be provided in the seasonal rainfall forecast expected to be released in August or early September 2026. Mr. Bupe explains that El Nino is a natural climate phenomenon that occurs when surface sea temperatures over the Central and Eastern Pacific Ocean become usually warm. He says the phenomenon weakens regional rainfall systems through a process known as teleconnection. Construction of the 22-megawatt solar plant at the Natural Resources Development College, NRDC, in Lusaka's Munali constituency has entered its final stage. The project is being implemented by Kiona Energy Limited, a subsidiary of Zesco Limited, in partnership with Taiho Limited at a cost of more than 10 million kwacha. NRDC site manager Given Masondi says the 20 megawatt solar component, which will supply electricity to the national grid, has been completed, while the remaining 2 megawatt component meant to benefit the college is nearing completion. Mr. Masondi says the 2 megawatt solar plant is expected to be completed within the next 10 days. He said the entire project is scheduled to be commissioned in July and will benefit surrounding communities in Nali constituency. Some residents said the initiative expected to support economic activities for small businesses and households. We now go for a commercial break. Stay tuned for international and sports news. Don't go away.
At LCM channel, we have great programs for all age group. 80% local content. LCM TV. Doing it the right way.
Join LCM TV channel, live every Tuesday with court news updates. On Thursday, we go live with environmental updates. Catch us every Saturday as we go live in your community. News on the go with LCM channel. Doing it the right way.
Lishima Classic Media, we can brand your brand. From backdrops to roll-up banners, vinyl and PVC banners, gazebo tents, t-shirt printing, flag banners, business cards. Get branded with Lishima Classic Media today, because here at Lishima Classic Media, we're doing it the right way.
Governance Space every Thursday at 21 hours on LCM TV. We bring your leaders to account and explain things that they will do for you. Catch the discussion 21 hours on LCM TV. LCM TV, doing it the right way.
Israeli strikes in southern Lebanon killed 31 people and wounded 40 on Tuesday, including at least 4 children and 3 women, Lebanon health minister has said. This comes as Israel said it was intensifying operations despite a truce with the Iran-backed group Hezbollah. We monitored France 24.
Rubble and destruction in the city of Tyre in the wake of Israeli attacks across southern Lebanon. With a ceasefire supposedly in place and peace talks planned, this is the reality on the ground.
When the warning of the attack came, people panicked because there were children and women and old people. And they all wanted to leave their homes because they were afraid of being killed or injured.
Israel's army released this footage on Tuesday, saying it struck more than 100 sites linked to Hezbollah, the militant group backed by Iran. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the Israeli army's offensive was deepening.
Under my and the Defense Minister's directive, we are intensifying our operation in Lebanon. The IDF is operating with large ground forces securing strategically dominant positions. We are reinforcing the security buffer zone to protect communities in the north.
The latest fighting also intensified along the Litani River in southern Lebanon, where Hezbollah said it targeted Israeli troops and vehicles attempting to push farther north, well past an already established buffer zone in the south. Hezbollah says it opposes the direct talks which are set to take place between Lebanon and Israel in Washington next week, arguing that such talks would only benefit Israel. More than 3,000 Lebanese people have been killed, along with nearly 24 Israeli soldiers, since hostilities began in March.
Iranian authorities on Tuesday partially restored internet access after an almost 3 months nationwide shutdown imposed during the war with Israel and the United States. More in the following report, credit of France 24.
After months of darkness, Iranians are back online. Authorities began to partially restore internet connectivity Tuesday after an 88-day shutdown during the war against the U.S. and Israel. Tehran had cast the internet shutdown as a wartime necessity. However, it cost the country's economy an estimated $30 to $40 million a day. People welcomed the lifting of restrictions, which had made it difficult for millions to contact their loved ones and burdened Iranian businesses.
I'm very happy that the internet is going to be restored because businesses can get back to normal. I had an online shop for a while and sold products. Definitely will benefit us.
This social prosecution that keeps happening significantly harms online businesses. The businesses highly depend on the internet, and every time these restrictions make life more difficult for them.
Online activity was reported by internet monitoring group NetBlocks, who said the nationwide internet shutdown had been the longest in modern history. Witnesses in Iran said mobile internet remains cut, but home internet with Wi-Fi is restored, though VPNs were still needed to access some social media. The decision to restore internet access was announced Tuesday.
The headquarters reached the conclusion yesterday that internet access should be reopened. And yesterday, the president's directive was conveyed to the communications ministry. We hope that in the coming days, we'll quickly be able to restore these legitimate rights to the people.
The latest internet shutdown followed a similar blackout imposed from January 8th, amid crackdowns on mass anti-government protests, which left thousands dead, according to rights groups. Monitors say Iran's internet is still far from being restored to its pre-January 8th levels of traffic.
In other news, hundreds of Ghana nationals have been flown out of South Africa on a voluntary repatriation flight. Non-South Africans have grown fearful of xenophobic attacks amid rising anti-immigrant sentiments. We monitored Al Jazeera for more details.
I'm happy when I go to my country. So, my brother, it's not easy to go some one country then disturb you always.
The demonstrators have said that they want us to work together. How do we work together? Ensuring that those that are undocumented, we are taking them back home. We are ensuring that if we want to work as a community of nations to achieve much together, the Pan-Africanism that we all talk about, we should allow institutions to work. Once the institutions are working, I don't think we'll find ourselves in this kind of situations whatsoever again.
And finally, in sports, newly appointed Football Association of Zambia First General Secretary Charles Chakatazia says he will work towards ensuring national teams win major continental trophies during his tenure. Chakatazia says qualification for the FIFA World Cup by the men's national team and winning the Women's Africa Cup of Nations are among his key priorities. Speaking in an interview with ZNBC Sports News, the seasoned football administrator said part of his mandate will be to strengthen the association's revenue base in order to address some of the challenges currently being faced. Chakatazia said he intends to work closely with all stakeholders in developing and strengthening football in Zambia. The former NAPSA stars Nkana and Kabwe Warriors Chief Executive Officer on more than 15 years of experience in football administration to help make FAZ a viable institution. Chakatazia was on Monday appointed FAZ General Secretary following a meeting of the FAZ Executive Committee. That sports item brings us to the end of the news on LCM TV. But before we go, here's a look of top stories that made headlines. Zambia receives new envoys to strengthen international relations. Government unveils partnership with Huawei Technologies. IBA releases election coverage guidelines according to 2026, ahead of 2026 polls. Zambia expects to record 4.9 million metric tons of maize harvest. NRDC power project enters final stage. And in international news, Ghana evacuates citizens from South Africa. And finally in sports, Chakatazia eyes World Cup qualification. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire production crew, my name is Stella Mbewe. Good night and stay tuned.
Lishima Classic Media, we can brand your brand. From backdrops to roll-up banners, vinyl and PVC banners, gazebo tents, t-shirt printing, flag banners, business cards. Get branded with Lishima Classic Media today, because here at Lishima Classic Media, we're doing it the right way.